Hi, I'm Jane from Arts Clubhouse. Welcome to the second session of Drawing Wildlife. The next bird I'm going to draw is a goldfinch, and we're going to start off as always with the head, sort of a roundish shape. And this time the body isn't sort of a nice big round shape with the tail coming off like we've been used to. This time, if we look closely at our reference image, the body circle is very much more a kind of oval kind of a shape. I'm going to say something like that. It's got a lovely, nice round tummy, but this back line is much straighter. And the tail, instead of sticking out like this that we've seen on some birds, it's going straight down towards the corner of the page. Body joins into the tail, and kind of that elongated tail feather like this. And we take the head and bring that around into the body. Lovely big round tummy, which then goes into the tail. So here we've got our shape, a kind of straight edge along the back, and this time the wing is coming all the way down from about here, almost in a straight line, down halfway to the tail. Now, I've never really noticed that before till I'm sort of looking very closely at our reference image, and that blends into there. I would even dare to say it's more pointed than that. Let's not be shy, let's extend it as what we see rather than what we think it should be. So that's going to come all the way down there in a straight line like that. And it makes me think my tail should be longer. And it makes me think this line should be there. So keep reflecting, keep looking, keep changing your lines whenever you need to. Don't rub them out till you think you've got them right. I always have many lines on my page till I think I've got the right one, and then I rub out the one that I don't want. Okay, now finches, when we're talking about the beak, their beaks are very distinctive. They've got those really big white triangular beaks. So if we look at this one, it kind of starts in the top of the middle of the head here and is really sort of significantly large on its face, as it were. So that kind of comes in like that. Got a little, it's not exactly a straight line. And then the lower part of the beak slightly curved in. I mean, if you think about how big that is in comparison to some of the small dainty little beaks that we've seen on birds, we can really see why the finch's beak defines it. They have these really sort of quite triangular beaks. The eye, I think, is going to go sort of halfway between the beak and the back of the head. And I'm going to put that like that. And then the most distinctive thing about the goldfinch particularly are the markings. So I'm going to do the dark patches first. So here I'm building up tone gradually, marking lightly first and then adding pressure once I want to add the really dark areas. And you'll see I'm using short marks with my pencil again to create that feathery organic texture we talk about. Every bird's eye reflection to this one on our reference image, there's quite a large area of reflection on the top half of its eye. And then obviously then if the reflection is on the top, then the dark shade will be underneath. And then birds seem to have these bubbly bits around their eyes, and the goldfinch is no exception. Let's get that light area in there, create that bubbly kind of texture. And then get that dark feathery knot in here. So let's look at the wing and see what shapes we've got here. Let's look at this top part of the wing. We've got a very feathery bit of white there. So that feathery bit joins into the dark to define it. There we go. We create a feathery look, and then we demark where the black dark area sits, and it kind of makes a shape like that as it goes into the wing. And this is very strongly defined, so I'm just going to go ahead and colour that in. Next we've got this yellow coming along here. Black coming up and around. And then we've got these diamonds of white along the back. Another little spot of white there. And then 3 spots of white there. Another tip of white there, and some white on the tip of there. And then the rest of all that is kind of black colour, which I'm going to come back to. And then we've got this lovely rich browny colour blending into the yellow here. And we've got these feathery textures. And the white blending into the brown, and then a white patch here, almost like a shield badge on its chest. Okay, we've marked out all the different areas for the different colours. We've got his legs, so we're going to put his legs about here. So when I look at the reference images, sort of halfway from the outer edge to the tail. I'm going to put his leg there, and it comes around like this. Then this tummy comes underneath, and he's got the back leg almost coming straight down. This leg then crosses in front of it, and look at the claws on this one. So we do our little sausage, and another little sausage going that way with a claw on the end. This claw is kind of big. Would not like to be the worm on the end of that claw, that's for sure. And then we try and create that kind of bobbly texture. create the lines going in the direction of the talon. I keep calling them talons. Don't know if they're called talons on birds this small. And that lovely shiny white bit on the top, and then a little bit of shading under here to add to the texture. Quite shaded in this part. And then we've still got bubbly bits coming in here, and the top of the leg is a bit smoother. Just colour in a bit of that fur we've got coming around here, so it gives that furry texture the detail that it deserves. Shading in here. And now he's got some legs to hop around the garden. Okay, so going back into all those dark areas. Here again we're going to keep using our short marks to create the texture and leaving very clear white areas to make sure we've got the right markings on our tail. And then that white tip on the tail, and we're pretty much done. So where the feathers fold together, some white tips kind of make these kind of patterns here. Okay, now we've pretty much done what we can do with pencil. If you're going to do a full black and white monochrome image, we would probably work into this area here to create some tonal variation, but I'm going to use colour pencil again so that we can create some definition with the colouring itself. So here we come to add the colour. For the red areas I've got a rather bright kind of strawberry red and a slightly darker tone just to give a bit of shading. Same with the yellows, it's always good, a nice lemony yellow and a slightly orangey yellow. And then the beigey area, I was thinking sort of a yellowy mustardy brown with a sort of a lighter brown colour pencil there. So that's what I've chosen for my colour palette. And then we're going to add these to our image. Okay, to add colour I'm going to be starting with the red. I've got my lighter and slightly darker shade here. I've marked out around the face where the red will go. So I'll start off with the lighter shade and just take that with the small strokes, creates that feathery look. And here's my line of where we're going to take it to, around the eye. Remember I said take your strokes in the direction of your feathers. First layer of colour right up into the dark areas around the eyes, and then there's a little bit of the darker colour in there. If you don't have more than one red, it doesn't matter. This is just if you've got these materials available. It's good to try and mix your colours together so to get closer to the one that you want to achieve. And then I might even make that a little bit darker under the beak, because there are a couple of dark elements to that shadowed area. Okay. Next I'll be looking at this really bright yellow area on the lemony colour, and then we take the shadows to this rather lovely golden yellow. Same for the wing, got some folded feathers here, make sure we get those all highlighted and low lighted that beautiful yellow colour. Okay, so before I start with the main body colour, I'm going to lift the guidelines off a little bit so I can still see them, but they're not very obvious. Got the white guideline there, and then a bit around here, tiny bit of white behind here. So we're going to start with the lighter of the two beiges that I chose, this sort of really reddish yellowy kind of colour on the chest, and we'll build up colour, but again keep with this lovely short sharp strokes to give that texture, feathery texture. Again, create the blending of the colours with different layers and just work through your image, doing the colour where you see it on the reference image.
And that concludes our close look at goldfinches today. Hope you've enjoyed it and learnt a little bit about examining shape, texture and pattern. Just leaves me to say thank you so much for joining us. It's brilliant to be part of this small Arts Clubhouse community, so please do share your images back to me. I love to see what people are making. Meanwhile, take care and I look forward to seeing you next time.